Mr. Speaker, Walgreens is planning to close yet another pharmacy in the Massachusetts 7th, this time on Warren Street in Roxbury, a community that is 85% Black and Latino. This closure is a part of a larger trend of abandoning low-income communities like the previous closures in Mattapan and Hyde Park, both in the Massachusetts 7th. When a Walgreens leaves a neighborhood, they disrupt the entire community, and they take with them baby formula, diapers, asthma inhalers, life-saving medications, and of course, jobs. These closures are not arbitrary, and they are not innocent. They are life-threatening acts of racial and economic discrimination.
There they go with that shit, man.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I bet if you look at why the Walgreens was going, like look at the logical reason behind why they're closing, it'll make sense. Probably low profits, stealing.
There's probably number one reason was stealing.
It's probably a lot of reasons. Like
if
it's
I
not
open up a business and
it's,
they steal, and they tell me if I open it up somewhere else, they won't steal. I'm opening it up somewhere else.
I don't understand why everything is discrimination and racial with them. Like, can we just look at the facts and just
they
go
just
off
want
the facts?
crime. They want crime in our city.
Bro, they wanted to make it. They want to make everybody victims, but they're probably like a literal logical explanation. But they push this perpetual victimhood every single time they get up on the stage, and the people who are affected by the things are like, "You're right. I am a victim. You're right."
I just don't think they understand when a business comes to your neighborhood or your community,
They have to
they're
make a
doing
profit.
you a favor.
Facts.
They don't have to do that.
Yeah,
They don't
it's a
look at
liability.
Is it why? You know, it's just like if the business was not losing money from probably theft, then they wouldn't like.
If it
it's
was a good
culture problem.
community,
It's a culture problem.
more businesses would come to the community.
The root problem
so
is
your
the
community can thrive.
And then that's why you have police. You know, people try to ban the police that's supposed to protect your property and your assets, but you said no police because you feel like people gonna be
Discriminate.
So do you think a business wants to be somewhere with no police? Okay.
no protection of property?
There is not one woman on this panel, and I almost walked out just on the strength of that. But the only reason why I didn't is because that is a systemic
Mrs.
issue
Potato Head.
here in Congress and often for people who come before this committee.
Let me hear
Is
that.
because that woman on this panel. And I almost walked out just on the strength of that. But the only reason why I didn't
She said
is
no
because
woman,
that
no-
is a
yeah.
systemic
Okay.
one woman on this panel. And I almost walked out just on the strength of that. But the only reason why I didn't is because that is a systemic issue here in Congress and often for people who come before this committee. And if you don't have one woman in a position of leadership and authority that should be there, then that is also a problem. But again, women, hundreds of women, the report detailed hundreds of women who experienced harassment with no recourse. For over a decade, the FDIC, under your leadership and your predecessors, ignored them. Chair Gruenberg, in November, in fact, not that long ago, you stated that the FDIC already has, quote, appropriate policies and procedures in place, unquote. Do you now agree, and this is a yes or no question, I'm serious, do you now agree that the policies and procedures in place have been a cataclysmic failure and an affront to the many women who have been harassed, pushed out of the FDIC, and forced to change their career goals and life trajectory?
They have failed, yes, Congresswoman.
Damn, he kept it 100.
Small, ashamed, traumatized, humiliated, alone. These are just a few of the words to describe the intense feelings of sexual harassment and what survivors endure.
So what are they supposed to do about that?
This remind me of how my mama guilt tripped me.
Hey, yeah, hold on, y'all. Don't get mad at me, bro.
Why is she bald?
Don't get mad at me. Don't she look like LL Cool J?
Low-key.
I'm in here
They got like they baldy is like the same shape.
It's like it look like, bro.
No, that's funny.
I need love. Slide.
These are just a few of the words to describe the intense feelings of sexual harassment and what survivors endure. According to the FDIC's own reporting, more than 80% of harassment complaints resulted in zero discipline. And when there were repercussions, not a single one resulted in removal, reductions in greater pay, or any discipline more serious than a temporary suspension. I am so tired of white men failing up.
Oh, wow.
This lack of accountability
Is this really a white man issue?
shameful, inadequate, and deeply unsatisfactory, and it is re-traumatizing.
The issue of sexual harassment that they tried to address fell short, right? Okay, they admitted that. But what does this have to do? Like, is this just a white man issue? Like, why is she saying white men are failing up because they're not being like
Held
treated?
accountable?
Yeah, held accountable. Like, okay, I'm sure it's not just white people that are or white men that are doing doing sexual harassment. Like, I don't understand
probably-
why she's blaming white men for that.
It's weird because she probably the same one that will let a man go in a woman's bathroom right
But
now.
I'm trying to. I've never heard anybody say failing up. What the hell?
It means like when you fail and then you like are rewarded for
Oh,
it.
failing
Instead of,
up.
Like
Okay,
you,
makes
like
sense.
you
I've never
fall
actually
and
heard
down.
that.
Like you
Wow.
know, like you fail and you fall down. They're saying you fail and then you're like rewarded for failing. And she's saying that's like a white man thing. And she's I'm just kind of lost on how like you're gonna blame that whole issue you just
Yeah.
described on white men.
That's brainwashed.
I don't think,
Seriously,
and
though.
then I hate how you generalize. You shouldn't generalize like any race or anything like that. So
Facts.
all white people, all black people,
'Cause
all
you
black
can-
men, all white women, all this or that.
That's
I
an
agree with that,
extreme
bro.
woke
I
stance.
think
Should be said.
I think generalizations are very harmful. I think they're not a critical thinking talking point, in my personal opinion, because you're not critically assessing the situation if you're saying all of them are this, unless there's
Yeah.
factual data that can support that.
She basically saying that every group of white businessmen there was a guy that did wrong in the business got promoted for doing wrong.
Well,
All.
yeah, I don't know about that.
Like that's pretty insane.
I don't know about that. I'll need to see some data, some facts.
And it's the main people who say, they're for quote unquote equality, but then it all boils down to
then you say
basic
this.
sayings we've always heard. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Think if the roles were reversed, if someone was saying this about black people, you would say you would be everybody be hooting and hollering about it. So if you don't want that, then don't say that. So you gotta treat people the way you want. Come with the energy you want received.
I swear it's a rebuttal on every liberal argument, literally.
No, literally, if everybody just lived off the treat others the way you want to be treated, the world would be a much better place.
But they said some people had the thought, well, they did us bad, so we gonna treat them how they treat
and then
us.
when does it end? When does that end?
Never
though?
gonna end.
At one point, does that end?
And then
It's
they're
like
gonna cry
when-
that so we're gonna supposed to do them bad, but apparently they have power. Apparently y'all saying they got all the power, which it does look like that, but it's more of them, and it
Well,
hasn't been
actually,
like that.
white people are the fourth richest race in America.
No,
The
no,
fourth.
that is
It
pretty-
goes
yeah, that is
Indians,
crazy.
Asians,
We ain't talking about that.
Jews,
We ain't talking
and
about that.
whites.
We're not definitely talking
So when
about
I'm like, well, if it's systematically racist,
let's look past
wouldn't
the Asian.
they rig it to
Why?
make their race first?
Let's look past
Back-
all the
back-
races that passed us up. The white man.